Okay, like John said, you know, the last time I kind of breezed through a bunch of things that I was working on, and I had two slides, you know, a pile of sticks and wood siding parts, and then a completed building, and people wanted more. You know, how did you get from A to B? So I threw this together in the last 7 or 8 days. Took about 5 days to build a South River kit. So I came up with this clinic on how to build a wooden kit, or how not to be afraid to assemble one, like Campbell, Suydam, Fine Scale, Bar Mills, and similar. I like the South River kits, but he's out of business, so there aren't any more. So first thing you do is buy a kit. You know, $290 for South Rivers. They're not cheap, but they're excellent. Then you decide what you're going to build out of the kit. Most of the South River kits had at least 2 structures in it, and I chose this little smaller building, the one with the truck backed up to it. And that's what I'm going to show you how to build. South River's nice. They come up with this book for telling you how to build it. But I always recommend people read the entire book, cover to cover, because there's a lot of hints and things in there. Then you have to decide if you're going to weather the building, make it look old and dilapidated, fit your time period. You may have different things. I build it stock, straight up, right out of the box. So then you got to gather your tools and materials. And I love a clean workspace. This is a list of the tools that I used. At the end, I've got my email. I can email you a list with some pictures in it. So I'm not even going to read the list, but there's just a bunch of little stuff that you need. Okay, this is the picture I showed last time. On the left, there's various strip woods. There's some pewter detail castings, window castings, laser cut siding, some resin castings used for stonework and such things. That's fairly typical for his. I think the resin castings are unique to Bob's kits, but you may find them in some kits you buy somewhere. Okay, so first you select the parts and mark them. I like to mark the inside of the building side so I know which wall I'm looking at, because you can see that they're almost mirror images of each other. And then you make a list of all the small strip wood parts, divide them into the ones that need to be painted, like trim paint, or the ones that are interior hidden that don't need paint, so you don't have to bother with them. I gather all my paints and inks, and I like to use the free little ketchup cups that you get at Wendy's or McDonald's to put the paint in while you're painting. Just squirt a little in there and then dab out of there. Not much goes to waste, and you don't feel bad about throwing them away. I like to craft acrylics. They're usually less than $1 at like Walmart and some of the other craft stores, so those are really good, actually. We like the South River kits tell you to use an ink wash, about 30% ink to isopropyl alcohol mix. It really brings out the grain in the wood, and if you put a coat on after you've colored it, it gives it a nice beat up, washed down version. You can see that I've painted that left-hand one with ink wash already. But anything you put on that dry wood is going to cause it to swell, like that one on the left. So you put it under some weight for about 24 hours. I like these building bricks. I got a pile of them somewhere, and I use them all the time to flatten that stuff out. There it is. I've ink washed it. It's just about ready for the first coat of paint. You choose your final colors. Sometimes it requires mixing. The yellow that I had on hand at home was a little too bright, so I cut it down with gray on about 20% gray. Gave me a nice color that I liked. The Ponce wheel is an interesting thing that Bob taught me about. It actually put nail marks in your wood siding, and it turns out in HO that about a 1/4 inch is just about right for 16, 18-inch spacing on the thing. So you just kind of run that along, and it puts little perforations in the sidewalls. Really nice job. We add these 1/8 by 1/8 stiffeners on the corners to keep everything straight and square. Also, it helps you building up your corner supports. You paint the windows and doors with your trim color. Use sprue cutters to cut them so that they're nice and flush with the edge of the molding. I always paint them on the sprues still, because then they don't get fingerprints and stuff all over them. Then You put the windows and the glass and the doors in the sides, and then start fabbing up the sides. That tray that those are sitting on is a micro mark thing. It gives you nice right angles and a little bit of sidewall. Down the lower part, I've got one of those corner clamps and another kind of magnetic corner clamp. Any of those kind of things can help you build a nice square corner. You finish gluing the sides together. You add a base and a roof. The South River kits use this press board for roofing material, and it works really nice. Then you start preparing your roofing material. Tar paper can be made from like thin brown craft paper, like a paper bag, not the grocery bags, the thinner ones, the smaller ones, like from a 6-pack of soda or something. You spray it a nice flat black on one side. You can scuff it up a little bit, make it a little texture, and then you cut it to scale size, 36-inch by 36 feet, to simulate a roll of roofing. Then you've got end laps and seams and that sort of thing when you roll it out. I like to use glue stick to hold that on because it's just paper onto paper. That's a perfect thing. You've got a little repositioning time while you're working with it. This building had a little raised roof section. I built that right in place after the roofing was applied. Kind of worked well for me. I like to add the interior details before I do any gluing the base in place. Sometimes there's a floor that goes inside. Or if I am not going to put an interior in, this one has really small windows, so there's not much point in putting an interior in. So I use black construction paper, like a view block, so you don't see through it or it looks like a hollow building. And then you build up your external details, like loading docks, steps, ramps, that sort of thing. I built this dock right on top of the plan sheet using scotch tape with the sticky side up so I could keep things in place. And I've weathered those sticks with just the ink wash, no paint on that. Then you start fabbing up your parts and put your signs on it, and you're just about done. Take pride in your work and show off your new kit. If you want a list of the tools, just send me a request to hamdenphil@gmail.com. Thanks for your time. If you